Okay. And as I was explaining to Matt, as I'm pressing all the cool buttons and stuff, I am in that post full moon creative space where now that we're sitting down and deciding that this is probably going to be a weekly effort that people can rely on for 2021, something that we can do to check in with people every week, at least once, that we got to have like a formal intro. We got to have like our own little countdown thing that we do, right? Got to have it.
I know this is like a faux pas to do on that, but I'm just going to check and see if that. No.
Faux pas.
I was going to try to figure out what light was like beaming off my bald head.
The circle of light. It's your head. You just can't miss it. There's nothing that I kind of feel that way about. I try and remember that the girl that was the actress in American Pie, if you're from the 90s, that there was a girl in there and she's like the girl with the forehead. Excuse you, somebody in my house. We can hear every little thing with my new microphone. Welcome to my new microphone where you can hear every little thing. And I live in a house full of boys, so you're probably going to hear numerous things. God, so help us all. Anyway, we are joining everybody live as usual. So you guys, we can see your chat. We can see your comments. The best place to comment is the YouTube stream. I can see, StreamYard says I can see the Facebook comments. I don't know if I can. I mean, I don't know. Give yourself a holler in the chat and I will be absolutely open to Matt as well. All of us there. There's Ruth already. See people. Hello. And I can see that says that you're from YouTube. So it kind of tells me where it's from. I don't know if it's accurate. I don't know if it's real. Who knows what's real anymore? But we want to check in with the astrology. We want to check in with this post full moon. First of all, how is your full moon in Libra? We told you guys. We told you there was going to be songs, news, changes in headlines, flip it and reverse it. We told you.
I think there's still a lot of carnage that happened over the weekend in these spring break locations.
Carnage.
But I'm I'm an old guy, so that's I was not in any position to see any of that. Full moon was gorgeous here. First of all, and as you mentioned before, I'm a cat, but I have a lot of Libra in my chart, so I resonate well with that Libra energy. So the whole diplomacy and liking things nice and that kind of indulgent type. Yeah, it's
Libra,
so,
that forward air.
Good.
That forward air, man. Saying, what was that? What did you say? Who said that to you? What did they say? Little Nas did what? What's the shoe? What'd they say? What's the headline? Who did what on Air Force One? Did what? They didn't. They did? Their body language? What? It's like air. It's gossip. It's telephone. It's reputation. And it's very forward, I think, like advocate. I think of, I'm clicking on a button. I don't know if that did anything, but I'm clicking it again. It makes me think of that space where you want to speak up for someone, like you're kind of butting in. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like I think of an old stand-up with Pablo Francisco, where it was like it's always that friend of the girlfriend who's like, and then I was there. Yeah, I was there, and she was too. Yeah, I was. It's like always that extra little person, and it's like, no, you weren't. You don't even know.
See, I see it's weird. I see, and I don't think this is the primary Libra energy, but if we want to compare the airs, I see Aquarius as the one that's going to jump in and say, you're speaking bad about my friend. I'm going to go ahead and, start shouting and getting in the whole thing. I see Gemini as the one that'll just be on the phone behind the scenes going, did you hear what so-and-so said? And then call the other person. They'll do both sides. They'll call both people involved in it just to hear what was going on and maybe not do anything about it. Libra, they drive things, but it's that indirect. So it's
dare we say charming manipulation.
I will invite you over for coffee. And oh, by the way, while you're here for coffee, I have this huge box that I just can't move by myself.
Oh, and did you hear?
Did you enjoy that coffee? would you be able to like help me with the box? It's like,
Right.
it's never going to be direct. It's like passive and diplomatic, but they're driving things through that diplomacy. They're moving all this
Welcome
stuff
to
behind the scenes,
Minnesota.
but they're never going to do it. They're never going to do it right direct in your face.
Welcome to Minneapolis, Minnesota.
No.
Or just Minnesota. Could be considered a Libra state. I think all of them. I almost think of that analogy of the Mean Girls, and I think of how all of the Mean Girls would be air signs because their reputation, they're theatrical, they're social, they're interested in what the talk is, and they're popular. But there's the one that's more shy. There's the one that's more manipulative. There's the one that's more like direct and conflicting. And all playing their own little parts, all very important, not bad, not good. That's not how energy is, right? It's a polarity. It's meant to be in or out. But as far as today goes, because we're coming up on the end of March, so this is exciting. It's Taco Tuesday. It's Tuesday today. The sun, circle, like the light shining down on you. The sun in Aries. Okay. Sextile Saturn in Aquarius.
Ooh. We're almost at the end of this, though, right? This was today?
Right. The end of today.
So this is going to be like a look back on the news as to what happened today, because I saw this coming, but this whole, I'll be happy when, because it's not a space I particularly like, I'll be happy when the Jupiter Saturn move out of Aquarius, which I know we got to wait a while for it, because it's the whole, we're going to change the rules, and then Jupiter is going to give the opportunity to change the rules. So where I'm expecting this could be bad, I view sextile as eliminating obstacles. So just creating opportunity, and it's a positive angle, but it's not from the same elements. So it's just kind of like merging and kind of creating this nice opportunity to move forward on something. So here you have your sun, ego, drive, in Aries, which is very aggressive, impulsive. I go back to that teenage boy. I'm not going to necessarily think things through. We're going to, our timeline's a week, not, a year. And we have Saturn in Aquarius. So Saturn is rules, restrictions, but Aquarius is all we're going to rebel against that. So obstacles eliminated to help change rules, and we're going to be impulsive and not think stuff through.
Yeah, sounds about right.
I wouldn't be surprised if some really stupid ass legislation got passed today somewhere.
Hey!
I mean, it's that kind of stuff.
Right underneath that Suez Canal. Look over here. Nike shoes over there. Look over here. Big colors, big things over here, over there, over where?
I got it. All the ID crap. I know it's been cooking for a while, but my feed was flooded with, you're going to need your papers to do anything now. Keep your card because you're going to need your card to keep your job. Some of this stuff I believe when I see it, because a lot of this I think is designed to get people all riled up and like funny, but it's that kind of stupid stuff that will happen.
Right. Air, who said that? Who told you? Where did you hear that from? Oh, yeah. Who told you that? It's very important to know your sources, know your facts, but that the air right now changing very much so. Like we said, that Aquarius, that deviant and wanting to break things, wanting to swim upstream, wanting to change, needing to change. And what I kind of like is that it's this idea that we're kind of feeling like, okay, the long-term goals of the yin energy is finally now moving in a direct way where we're making moves. We're making moves and things are finally getting attention. We're starting to grow. We're starting to put those pins in. We're starting to send those emails. We're starting to join into the work, right? I had kind of mentioned what is the not work, like in our magic space and the gypsy tribe and things like that. Doing not work. What are spaces that you have Venus and Saturn in Aquarius moving into the sun in Aries, which is also the huge, big movements for tomorrow, is it's that the sun stays in Aries, that Saturn is in Aries, and that Venus joins it in Aries tomorrow. And that all of that kind of hits down at once to end the month with kind of what is that splinter in your foot. How does it feel? It's kind of annoying. So you're going to have to pluck it out. How do you feel when you see Venus and the sun in Aries with Saturn in Aquarius tomorrow?
Are any of them making angles to each other? Just so
They're
people know, it's
sextile.
not like I'm ignorant. It's part of like for this show. I like to do it cold.
Sextile each other.
Okay, I was gonna say I don't like looking at the stuff in advance.
I don't like looking. I don't like knowing.
So nobody thinks like, oh, you're supposed to be an astrology person. Why don't you know this? Like I deliberately
You're
don't
supposed
look
to
ahead.
know it all,
Yeah.
Matt.
So they're both said, this is bad.
Don't say that.
Yeah, I shouldn't say. I feel like I say that every week, but well, no, because let me go where let me go. So again, Sun, Aries, impulsive, ego, drive. Venus, Aries, impulsive, ego, drive. Saturn in Aquarius, we're going to rebel against the rules. We're going to change the rules. All sextile, meaning obstacles will be eliminated to let those energies flow better together. What I see on that is, I see affairs. That's honestly, that's the first thing that comes to my mind is this is going to be, if something's been cooking between and simmering between people for a while, particularly if it's something kind of like tabooish, like, affair type things, that like there's going to be that boundary is going to be really thin. So if there's a chance or a spark for something, it's going to like fly. It's going to take off tomorrow.
That's immediately what I hear. I hear that underground music of the Nintendo days.
Yeah. It's funny. I'm hearing these. I know exactly the music you're talking about. I was going to add one other thing too. When you're talking about the alchemy, because I like that whole piece. For me personally, there's a lot in air, which for folks that aren't familiar, that's communication. That's
Libra.
For me
Aries.
personally, I don't invest. I let all that air flow. You don't get my attention, and I don't start looking at doing anything until I see that air start moving into fire. Because people can talk a huge game. It's not until you start acting. So like on this ID, I'll watch all this talk on the ID. It's not until I start seeing stuff happening, the actions actually start happening, that I'll start like moving and doing stuff.
So again, not to be offensive, never ever is that my intention. But I say this as in like today, where I'm living here in northern Minnesota, we're very, very close to a reservation. And so there's a lot of indigenous people, Ojibwe people walking around, and a lot of people using really cool northern language and slang. And there's this business owner of the coffee place that I go to all the time. And we were sitting there and kind of just talking about the weather. And lately it has gone between 27 degrees and like 72 degrees. Like what? It was like huge, like this huge dip, like, apocalyptic kind of movie scenario. We were like, species ending weather. And I said, it's really sad because it was so beautiful yesterday and I want it to be beautiful today, but I kind of will have an Indian weather rock. And and everybody's like, turns and looks, because he was like, yeah, I've got one of those. That's the best way to do it. You just don't know. And for anybody listening, that is when you have just a rock outside and you go outside and you say, okay, it's raining because it's wet, or it's windy, it's moving, or it's dry, it's not raining. And in essence, that you have to just kind of be able to know and to read the weather at the present moment. It's going to change. It's going to fluctuate. And with air, alchemy, not doing anything until it's fire, that in essence that like, okay, you said tornado. I'm not really going to board up my house until I see it. And until there is, I'm from Missouri, show me, until there's some kind of evidence for me to start exhausting resources. This is really, really, really important. And so Ruth thrown in a question. And of course, anybody joining us in the stream, in the chat room, thank you. And feel free to throw in a question. If we read it and see it while we are still live, we will absolutely read it online and address it. But we then, after today, tomorrow, that's Wednesday. It's crazy to think tomorrow's already the middle of the week. So then Thursday is April 1st. Do you celebrate April Fool's Day?
Yeah, I do.
Oh,
I
God.
think I've gotten too tired to get really creative, but yeah, I try to do creative stuff.
Oh, I like that. I'm too tired. I don't know. I'm too tired to get creative. Is that true? What do you usually do? What's your best? Are you like a prankster, or are you someone that like, do you do the hear ye, here's a truth we all must know?
No, I do the prank stuff. I had people going, and it's funny because around this time, about 5 years ago, I was almost your neighbor, so to speak, because that was the closest I came to moving to Minnesota 5 years ago. But I also faked because people know that's always hanging over kind of my head. That's where our company is located. And so I did do one, and I did it for like a couple days ahead of time. Because that's the way I'll play too. Is like I'll do it like maybe March 30th, March 31st to start the thing cooking because everybody's expecting it on the first. So you still build it into the
Yeah.
first, but you start early to catch them off guard and
Yeah.
say
So
things
you're a
about
dad.
yeah.
So you've got a lot of
Oh, I'll
victims.
mess with my kids. Oh, I'll mess with my kids really bad.
I was gonna say you got a lot of victims, and now my kids are kind of younger, but I think now they're of the age that we can really appreciate it. I don't know if I want to even get into that though. I don't know if I want to start
I have to
that.
share this story.
Yeah.
People are gonna think I'm horrible. We're probably actually gonna like lose fans off this. Um,
Here they go.
I had a son. I have a son. They say this is like my dad of the year thing. I have a son that he just would follow me and ask all kinds of questions and ask crazy questions. And it took them a while to realize one thing I love is I can do, and I love messing with people this way. I can do a really good poker face and just like tell like total like crap. And
Oh,
so
my husband
he
does the
asked
same
me, and I
thing
can
to me.
think really fast. So he comes to me, he's like, Dad, the Universal ride with Jaws, is the shark real? And I was like, yeah, but it's like no big deal. I'm like, the boat goes out to the middle of the lake, it like tips over, you all like swim to the shore, and as long as you're not the slowest swimmer, like it's all cool. Like the shark can only
Oh
get
my
like one
God, I
person.
would believe this.
At
Yes.
least at least that's what happened when we went with your brother. At least that's what happened when we went with your brother Ben. She's like, we don't have a brother Ben. I'm like, yeah, he was the slowest swimmer,
Yeah. Don't
and
mention
then
it.
walked away and saw the wheels turning. Now, to be fair,
How old was he? How old was he?
I go back and say it's a joke, but I let it go for a little while. I'm gonna say maybe like 8 or 9.
That's a, that's okay. I'm thinking that's my oldest. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
it wasn't like 5. It wasn't like, but I mean,
And
it
all
was.
the other siblings didn't make it. No, that's okay. Yeah, a
And
little fear.
I did it with the other son. He wanted to go on a Jersey Devil hunt, and so I was like, "How are we going to search for him?" We gotta like pack meat in like the backpack, and then like when the
Hmm.
Jersey Devil comes out and like wants to pick one of us up, we gotta like grab down to keep it from.
You which one of us is going to dangle? Let's pull straws. The Jersey Devil likes to have spontaneity in his lunch. Yes. Yes. However, though, I did have what I thought was, again, I kind of scare my children sometimes now that I think about it. Up here in the North Minnesota, we have eagles. And in Missouri, I never saw an eagle. I saw a lot of red-tailed hawks. They don't have hair. Red-tailed hawks and owls, big owls. Now, moved to Minnesota. We had an eagle that lived outside of our tree in the city. We were very lucky. The one tree in the city, the low tree that people would come and park to come and see because it's the only tree. It did have an eagle living in it, and the University of Minnesota had a eagle cam, and so we could watch it. We felt very lucky that we could see it from our window, and people could therefore also see us. Never be nude. Anyway, this has changed since living in northern Minnesota. Now they are on our property big time, and they're bigger up here. And it swooped. It was on a carcass that was right by the side of the road, and all of the snow had melted. And so this like soupy carcass was there. And all of a sudden this thing moved. It was as tall as the stop sign. It was as tall as the stop sign. And I called out, "Where is Ken Gerhard? It's a thunderhawk. Look, there, look, Stella. It's a thunderhawk." And they both, "Where is it? Where is it?" And it swooped off. I almost spit. I was so excited. It swooped off, but you could see it was huge. It actually has made me kind of nervous that my children or even myself may not be safe. They're pretty big. They might
Yeah.
be able to take me.
I'll share one more really, really quick. This wasn't an April Fool's one, but again, I just play along. So my other son came in and started asking if I was bit by a wolf because last night was like a full moon. And I just play along. This is when my wife would work like during the weekend and stuff. And I'm like, no, I was not bit by a wolf. So then just during the course, like for like a couple of hours, I'd be like, and then I'd be like, Shaylin, how are you doing? And it culminated with me finally getting down on all fours and like running out the back door on all fours. Just to see what they would do.
Yes, this is parenting 101 for you guys out there who.
Yeah. So sorry, guys.
Weird.
It's just.
Yes. Anyway, so we did have a question in the chat room. Ruth said, when you talk about knowing your sign, what sign are you talking about? What astrological sign and how do you know are you talking about? Which, you know, if you're not interested or don't know anything about astrology, that's a really great question.
Yes.
What do you know?
It's more complicated than
at the end of the comic book section of the old newspaper days.
What everyone talks about, like in the newspaper and stuff, is your sun sign, which is, and that'll be the date you're born. So you could actually put the day you're born in the chat here, and we can all tell you what it is. But there are the time and location where you're born sets up a whole chart, and that all kind of paints more of the overall picture of the different planets. Like your moon sign, which the moon changes very, very quickly. So that's the one that really where the birth time becomes important. Is really kind of like your inner emotional self. That's very important. And there's something called the Ascendant, which is which sign is like right on the horizon at the exact time you're born. And that's kind of like your outer mask. So like for me, I'm a Capricorn, but my Ascendant is actually Leo. And I do have, there are certain Leo aspects of me, but it's not really my core self. It's more how I present myself to others. So basically your birthday will tell you your sun sign. I'm sorry, Sarah, I'm sorry.
No, I liked how you did that. It was like Ron Burgundy. To others. But sun sign is your birthday zodiac sign, right? Because that's what I think people get, and I even get mixed up. What's your sun sign? You mean what's my zodiac? What's my what am I looking at the back of the New York Times? But my rising sign, my moon sign, my what's in Venus, what's your third house, these kinds of things as astrological speak, all this stuff. And I did share in the chat room. You can download apps, you can check on those kinds of things, but you can also get a reading from Matt or I, definitely Matt first, but I get a reading. You can download something like that. It's a free app on my phone.
I love that one. It's I think the one we both used before because we've shared back and forth, Astromatrix is a good one on the phone.
Yes. Astromatrix, and that's what it looks like. Astromatrix, just like it sounds, and it's free. You don't have to, buy anything or anything like that. And it's just entering in your
just enter Astro, not Astra.
Oh, sorry,
Astro.
See, that's why I need you. Look at me typing away, man. And then I completely missed out on that last question. Do you like reading? It was. Do you like reading people's charts, or are you more interested in the astrology of the here and now? Ooh, it's also really good. Before we jump into the April and the end of the week, how do you jump into that, Matt?
Well, for me, and you know this, but nobody in the chat would necessarily know this. I like all the different aspects. I'm actually not. I'm not one of these people that come and go, I've done this for like 20, 30 years. I originally thought when I first started working with Sarah, I originally thought this was kind of like, it's like a cute like sideshow type thing, but there's not. And then the more I dug into it, I'm like, holy crap, this like all lines up. And so I've actually kind of done this like very intensive deep dive over the last like couple of years. So I'm interested in all the aspects, but I'm actually play around with models for predictive is kind of what I'm trying to play around with these like hybrids between using tarot and the astrology. And there's different charts. Again, we could overcomplicate things right now, but there's different charts that give you a little more insight into the future. I like playing around with that. What we do here on the weekly ones are always cool for seeing things on like the macro level, what would be going on in society in general. But then there's also synastry charts, which look at relationships between people and their angles. And kind of the individual chart. So I feel like I'm not giving you a great answer, but there's different charts you use for different things. And I'm interested in them all, but I'm kind of interested in just the whole looking ahead and seeing how things line up. And that's probably what's impressed me the most in all this. Like with that whole Jupiter and Saturn in Aquarius, we've had side conversations, Sarah and I, on what we thought would happen in 2021, and now seeing it actually like happen. That's what's kind of like converted me on some of this stuff, is like, you know, it ends up playing out really frequently. So I'm sorry, go ahead, Sarah.
No, I like the how it plays out, but then like allowing the synchronicity to become specific, like understanding that Mercury and Scorpio at the end of 2021 was a lot of like legal jargon, media headlines. It was a lot of things you weren't hearing that you needed to know that were going to be coming up later as that poison or toxin that you need to pay attention to. And I'd be like, what the hell's it gonna be? And I felt like I didn't know. I just felt like Mercury, I knew it was going to be communication. Scorpio, I knew it could possibly be hurtful. It would make a lot of noise, but what's that mean? And then it was like, oh, this is like the Ghislaine Maxwell. This is like the Saudi military movements. These are like things politically that just really aren't making headlines that probably should be. And otherwise just kind of get thrown under the rug and then later come out in other really strange timings. I don't know, just things like that I'm like, now that I know that, when I'm looking at the astrological chart, it depends on the context. So with that question, I like to know a person's astrology when I meet them, or like if I'm doing case management work, or if I'm doing like a suicide crisis intervention, you're showing up and okay, when's their birthday? Oh my gosh. Okay. If this is a female and she's a Scorpio, she's probably already swallowed the thing of pills. We need to know exactly what medication she's on, what interactions that, you know, these kinds of things, what her name, we need to be able to get something specific. Does she have children? I need to know their name. I need to know her nicknames for her children. Like these are the things that I'm going to need to know to pull this person out versus somebody that's a different sign. It's going to be different. But also if I don't know the specifics of a person, I can also show up like a social worker might on a full moon and be like, it's a full moon, guys, let's get ready. And everybody kind of knows in a general sense what to expect, what that means to prepare for. That you go like, oh man, I've only got 5 minutes. Do I stop and get myself the turkey sandwich and coffee or do I not? Well, it's a full moon and it's a Friday. Oh yeah, no, I'm stopping to get the turkey sandwich and coffee because it's going to be a long night. And you're glad you did. And people are like, where are you? Why weren't you here on time? You know, it's going to be, I know it's going to be a bit. And so that's why I texted you and said, hey, I'm stopping to get everybody some stuff. Can I pick anybody up a coffee? It's Friday. You know?
Yeah, I'm going to go right to what we said with just the Aries and the Saturn and the Venus. Nobody's going too many places right now, but let's say you had someone that was hitting on you. You had no intention. You have no intention of doing anything, but yes, you find them attractive. Tomorrow, stay the hell away from them. Just
why?
Don't, because the way this is all lined up, despite all your intentions, something could end up playing out tomorrow that you wouldn't want it to play out.
They happen to have a set of your keys as an emergency backup because things go wrong and then you forgot something and have them stop by and then you message them to stop by and then you happen to both stop by and she thinks, well, you know what, my bathroom's broken and so I'm going to just use his shower for a moment because he's at work. And then it just so happens that your wife walks in and the neighbor girl is there using your shower naked and you walk in, turn around like this. Freeze frame. Is this really happening right now?
Or even just some of the weird energies of like when you hear people say like, I don't know what came over me. Like I never would have intended to. And that, you know, it's that kind of, these things don't force you. I don't want to get anybody that idea. These things don't force you.
It's not an easy out.
These things can be nudges. And so what I'm saying is don't put yourself in a situation where you're struggling anyway, because there's going to be that nudge tomorrow. And so just stay away.
And so I like when you say nothing makes us, but when I think of Gavin Rosdale as, is he, I always mix up Balthazar and Beelzebub. but I do think it's Beelzebub that he's playing in Constantine when he shows up as a demon.
Okay.
And he is just going, you should get a drink. You know, like just a whisper, just a subtle thing in a moment when that's really not what you need to hear right now. That thing, that tipping point, that we say the straw that breaks the camel's back. Knowing that this is going to happen on a Wednesday, going into a new month, spring, a new month, new mandates, a new month, new calendar day, new numbers, new feelings, spring, new holidays. Target shifts all the darn aisles again. And the energy kind of, and you guys will start to see this pattern as you join us each week. You're going to start to see how this moves continuously through the seasons. As it goes from Aries and through that air and fire, it's going to move up and over into Sagittarius on Thursday, April 1st, Fool's Day. Please don't put Jell-O in the shower head or saran wrap over the toilet bowl. Look out for these things, guys. April 1st, moon in Sagittarius, sextile Saturn in Aquarius.
A lot of sextiles this week and a lot of Saturn stuff this week. So
Sextile.
So sextile, it's all the angles where they come, and so generally, I'm oversimplifying this for some of the astrological people. The signs fall into different elements, and so an easy way to say it is like when something is trine, which is another very soft. It's like from the same element, so it's air to air. Sextile is complementary, so either your yang ones or your yin ones. So it's like air to fire or water. So in this case, we have an air sign, Aquarius, with Saturn forming an angle to the moon in Sagittarius, which is a fire sign. So, and in general, it's just it's complementary. So, and just the kind of the way I look at it is it like eliminates obstacles. So if you want to look at this kind of going left to right, emotions in Sagittarius, which Sagittarius, you're going to see why I said like, oh no, again. Sagittarius is kind of like the explorer and the spiritual. You know, I'm going to go run off to like, I always think back to, I had a coworker that like lost his job and then just took like the severance money and went like to live in like India and Thailand for like 18 months. So like,
yeah,
go like hang out stuff, but it's like intellectual and like spiritual. And so you have that on the moon, which is your emotional internal side, once again combined with the rules, Saturn, the rings blocking you in, but Aquarius, we're going to rebel against it, so we're going to change the rules. So we have emotional exploration and we have obstacles being eliminated to allow you to rebel and change the rules. So again, lots of, this is very interesting too. It's heading into like on the Christian calendar into Holy Week, that you're having this like energy of kind of spiritual exploration and maybe emotional. I want to try something different and I'm going to have an opportunity to like totally change the rules. So again, not so much romance where I'm thinking affair, but I'm just thinking of if you were thinking of doing something that's kind of outside of the box or outside of your own like boundaries or rules, there's going to be that nudge again. So it's going to be pushing the boundaries.
And I like that you say it that way, because I think of driving through the forest and you look over at the coastline and you see the little Smokey the Bear sign. And it says, you are now entering into, and you're coming into new ground, right? You're moving into this new space. And you look up and you're like excited. There's the anticipation. You're going to be jumping out of the car soon to go explore this new area. And you see the sign says fire hazard, moderately high risk. Moderately high risk. This is like, oh, huh. And then you look over and it's like predators, high risk. Oh, we should just be ready. We should just be spry. Now is not the time to be doing drunken craziness. Now is the time to be aware of Trojan horses, right?
I have a really weird analogy that hit me with this, but this to me reminds me of run off and join a cult dynamic.
Ooh, do it
this
or
is
don't.
like I'm going to go off. I'm like going to totally like redo my whole like life boundaries and life rules. And it's like that spiritual searching. I'm just going to like run off and, you're probably going to see some people out there like they're just going to like overnight all of a sudden become, born again or, a Muslim or, somebody that went to church, very devoutly is just going to come out and say, you know what, as of today, I'm an atheist. It's just like, I'm not like, I'm just doing examples here. I'm not like targeting anything in particular, but it's that spiritual element combined with like totally like blowing up and redoing the rules. So yeah, that's the best analogy. It's kind of like that cult dynamic.
Zombie, born again. What's it going to be? What is it going to be? What's going to engage that transformation? It's kind of a really cool space. And then because it's a new beginning, like you said, the synchronicity of the timing, the season, the weather, the politics, all of that is going to start moving in a sense that we either are going to need to move with it, or if we're moving against it, just to be aware of it. It's like, if you're running alongside this huge thing, you just need to be aware of where you're stepping so that you don't get stepped on if you're not the biggest thing in the, sea. And we're not. So thinking of that for Thursday, then you think Friday going into the weekend. Now, brace yourself. Brace yourself! Friday, April 2nd. Mercury in Pisces. Sextile, again. Sextile Pluto in Capricorn.
I knew we had to get a Capricorn and Pluto in here again. And I thought, honestly, and I have nothing against, like I said, I like the water signs and stuff. I thought we were done with Pisces. I want to add, because I just got this insight while we were talking, that I think you're getting advice from me based on I have a earth and air chart. I have like no water, so I'm not somebody to come to like get a whole lot of like gushy emotion from. I don't have a whole lot of fire. I have some, like my Ascendant is Leo, and I have a little bit of fire in there. But if you notice, my advice on all these things, particularly when there's lots of fire in it, is wait, analyze, don't be impulsive, and don't move. Which I just realized that if your partner here, Sarah, had a lot of Aries in them, I'd probably be giving the exact opposite. I'd say, go for it. So filter my advice through that thing. I am a earth air guy. So I'm like, think about it, analyze it, then decide whether you want to move or not. Don't be impulsive and let that nudge. You make sure you're driving the car. Don't let any kind of external nudge drive it for you. I guess the best way I would describe it.
Well, and when I'm thinking about it, so for like Derek, who's joining us, and a few other fun new faces who I've never, I don't think a few of these people I've never seen before. So welcome, guys. Mercury, I think of the fast moving communication. I think of Flash, he'll save every one of us. I think of like Queen. I think of all of these people floating heads in the blackness, singing with wild hair. I think Mercury, and it's in Pisces. It's like there's screaming, there's crying. We don't know what they're saying, and just don't want to be alive. And it's like, what? And it's a suicide song, but it's beautiful. But like, what's going on? But is it classical? It's Pisces, which is the fish in a water, like shooting fish in a barrel. Sounds like it would be easy enough. Yeah, try it. It's actually not. Try catching a crawdad with your bare hands. It's hard. Mercury in Pisces is trying to understand someone who's going, all know when your kids do that crap. And you feel horrible being like, I can't understand you. Gonna have to wait. You hate and feel guilty, as Jesus tells us going into the Holy Week. Purge your sins. You will be born again. Learn from it. Let Pisces pass. And Pluto and Capricorn. Move it right to, okay, why are you crying? What is this really about, Pluto? Okay, Pluto is saying, Capricorn, focus on life insight. There is information at hand that could help you with major life decisions right now. Do not be polluted by emotions. Don't be sitting here huffing and miss the lesson. Get on that show right now. People are going right now. And no one's going to judge you. No one cares. Stop crying. No one's worried. Your makeup's fine. Go now. Drop it. Like, that's how I see that energy being this Friday. It's only a few days away. What's funny?
I have a weird, so for folks that maybe haven't been on our show earlier, so Aries starts the cycle. So Aries, as I said, is kind of that juvenile. I always think again that teenage guy, just thinking about. Pisces is the end of the cycle. So one way that I view Pisces is kind of this emotional, almost like deathbed view of your whole life. So there's this introspection to it. There's artsiness to it. There's like a martyrdom to it. It's very introspective. It's very deep. It's very emotional. So you have that in Mercury, which is communication. Sextile, so removing obstacles too. Pluto, the impersonal planet, it's way out there. This is big transformational change. It's change that doesn't give a crap about you personally. In Capricorn, which success, accomplishment, drive. So I almost view this as getting a almost end of life deathbed perspective or advice on some of the big transformations that are coming out. So if you get advice or if you get information on Friday, I personally think it will probably be very, very good and a very, very interesting perspective that will help you with some of the changes that are beyond your control. So pay attention to advice you get on Friday. I think it could be very, very deep and very, very helpful.
I thought of, have you seen Adam Sandler's rather serious movie Click with Kate Beckinsale?
Yes.
That's Friday.
Yeah.
Anger, frustration. I'm fucking tired of this. Just fast forward. Click. I just need a remote control that does everything. Whatever. Convenient. Are you sure that's what you want? Mercury and Pisces. What did you say? Don't. That's not what I meant. Emotions. Pluto and Capricorn. There's actually something bigger going on here. And pay attention to it. Don't miss it. And I think it can be a good thing. So when we say like use it for good, sit back. I think of writing your own eulogy. I think of having lunch in the cemetery, visiting someone, writing a letter to those people who we know who are still alive that we will miss when they pass, making sure we check in with humble, but also in that Capricorn space, it kind of is, it's practical. So it's like, what can I do that is recyclable? How do I not focus on the death, but how do I focus on the rebirth? And it's what I think religion is trying to do, to engage people into being a disciple, to not think and feel, just be a disciple. Just trust what God is telling you and follow the lead. Okay. Just follow the lead. Okay. And don't slide down a stripper pole back down to hell. Don't do that. That's stupid. Don't do that. I think that's what Christianity is trying to say, but I'm not sure. So
I just want to add one thing. In a generic way to give the advice, and I see a lot of people not doing this, so this is why I want to share this. In a generic way, I would say the advice for Friday is don't stress and worry about things that are completely out of your control. A lot of the Pluto transformations are big transformations that are out of your control. And I think you're almost going to get that perspective of kind of end of cycle, kind of, 12th house, endings. In retrospect, I wouldn't have worried about X because one, it didn't matter, and two, there was nothing I could have done about it. That's kind of the lesson I kind of feel gut-wise is Friday's lesson.
I like the control. I like that because that is a really important problem solving tool, like looking at your skills rather than your failures, looking at what you can control, your reaction rather than what you can't. A lot of pandemic, certain mandates, certain things that might really make us feel angry or frustrated. If we really can't control it, we shouldn't involve our emotions. Instead, we should either try and think about it or just change our actions. It's not that we're neglecting or denying, we're actually just trying to be resourceful with our energy. And so it's important to know that people might be dissociating or cutting off. It's actually kind of a coping mechanism of people who are relatively intelligent, the survival people who are thinking, who are strategizing. And these are important tools and skills to have in times like now. So that's important. But you said the magic word. It's like you're psychic, Matt. It's like you're psychic or something. Saturday, we wake up. I always think of donuts. Saturday morning cartoons. I don't know if they do that anymore. Those might be gone forever too. Saturday morning, April 3rd, coming up on tax day soon. Mercury enters Aries direct.
In a nutshell, you've been bugging the heck out of me for the last like 3 weeks, and I haven't like said anything. And like today, I'm going to go ahead and say I'm going to send you that text, and I'm going to call you and tell you exactly what I'm thinking. Now, I said that in a negative way. It may not be a negative thing, but Mercury and Pisces, you've been thinking it, you've been thinking it, you've been thinking it. You're going to go into Aries, now it's going to be impulsive. You're going to do it, and honestly, that nudge is going to be to not be very well thought through. So be aware of that. It's going to be impulsive. It's going to be quick. It's going to be communication skill of like that teenager that's got a bunch of emotion cooking. So keep that in mind. You may want to you may want to finally say something to somebody on Saturday, and it might be the right thing to do, but
it might be the right thing to do.
Sit on, you're going to write, it's particularly if it's like a written down thing, like a text or an email or something, go ahead and compose it, but sit on it. Like, don't send it immediately. Make sure that there's going to be a lot of impulsive communication on Saturday.
Impulsive communication. Think about this, guys. If there is ever a day to turn off your phone, if there is ever a day to disconnect what you are doing to go out in nature, go out away from people. That would be really wise.
I would add, we talked about this with Venus about like a couple weekends ago about like the transition. And the other thing about Pisces that we didn't talk about was it's ruled by Neptune. Dreams, delusions, so there could be some like communications that you've misread. And now it's going to transition to, I'm going to act on this. And I think out of all like the sign transitions, that Pisces to Aries one probably gives me like the most heartburn. Because I think that's like the biggest spot where you could really make a miscalculation and screw something up. So
I like that you said miscalculation. I'm writing some of these down for my notes.
Sunday.
Miscalculation as opposed to miscommunication because of the alchemy there. A miscommunication is very easy to happen in air. That's what air is designed to do. You're yelling into a tornado. Who the hell knows what and where the cows are going and why? It's very difficult to try and navigate that. However, Earth, these are different spaces. Calculating, analyzing, that's a measurement. That's something you can think about. That's usually has some evidence or some practical, objective nature about it. It's a rational thing. It's a calculation. So knowing that Pisces Neptune transition can be a miscalculation. Think about how you feel if someone really thinks that they have seen a UFO, if they have the evidence. They will go out, walk up to Capitol Hill and wave it around. They will do really crazy things if they have what they believe to be practical evidence. What is practical evidence? If it doesn't serve your purpose, why does it even matter?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you even care? Now would be a good time to check in with those subtle emotions. Go in instead of out, because everything is out in Aries. So instead of going out and hurting other people, possibly, we go in and go, wait. Why is it that I want to go get a dog? Why is it that I want to go do these things? Why? Like for me, it's been a snake. I keep saying, you know what? If somebody buys a reading and they tip me, I'll buy a snake. And then, then it'll happen. And I'm like, but I really need to do this, or I need to do that. I don't need a snake, Sarah. Come on. You're an adult. Don't do that. But then I set it up and I don't do it.
It's weird for me. What bothers me with this one is it's water to fire. So it's emotions shifting to action. And that happens with the other signs. That happens Scorpio, Sagittarius, and Cancer, Leo. But you look at the rulers here. Pisces is Neptune. So that whole deceptive dream. And Aries is Mars, action, aggression. So you have this combo of dreams, maybe things aren't what they seem, and emotion transitioning to aggressive, impulsive action. And that to me is just a dangerous transition. It just
dangerous.
I'll preach, just pause. If you can pause. Don't try not to be impulsive on these transitions, because you could really miscalculate.
For me, it's going to be, if I'm choosing to do something and it's going to be okay, do I either want to go out and go hunting with a new group of people that you might show up and they're drinking and have some kind of a, Cheney incident, or do I just want to go, bike riding on my own with no one, that would be important. And just to prepare, let people know where I'm going so I'm safe. But for the most part, that is going to be a better option. Just thinking about collateral damage is going to be important to do this weekend. And it's not going to end any differently in that space of trying to be more calculating. And I say that because April 4th, easy to remember, will fall in a fourth quarter moon. And so the end of the weekend finishes up with the moon, right? That inside space, that feminine menstruating thing spinning around our planet. The moon, the fourth quarter phase into Capricorn.
Okay. One extra comment I just want to make really quick. If you have plans on Saturday this will be a great weekend for us just to get away and talk. Spend lots of time talking. Change your plans. Saturday's not a good, whether it's a friend or romantic, Saturday's not a good day to go and spend lots of time to talk crap out, because it's not good energy for that. Moon in Capricorn. So moon again is more your inner self, emotions, like you said, Sarah, the more feminine, the more yin energy on things. It's changeable, it shifts. Capricorn is, and I use this analogy because it very much ties my personality. I relate to it. It's the sea goat, but I always think of the mountain goat as well. So, I'm going to climb this mountain. I'm going to climb this mountain. I'm going to climb this mountain. I get to the top of the mountain. It's oh shit, there's a bigger mountain in front of me. So I'm going to go ahead and climb this mountain. So there's this drive to achieve, get things done. It's a cardinal sign. So it's a driven sign. So it's emotional drive. Your inner emotions are going to be focused on some kind of goal on Sunday. So either a goal you already have is going to uptick in importance, or you're going to get a good emotional realization of a goal on Sunday. So Sunday's a great day if you're just looking for crafts or something. You want to do some kind of vision board, or planning. What do I want the rest of them? We're coming out of the COVID. What does the rest of my year look like, or something? Sunday's a great day energy wise to do something like that.
I love that idea of a realization, crafting a vision board. Or I've seen some really cool spell work done where people are doing divination. They're writing out a poem, or they're crafting or scrapping little, they look like little bomber letters, which we're not saying that in any way, right? But the where you're, what am I trying to say? Those letters that you're cutting out, and it's very cryptic. and then they press them in glass with some of their Easter flowers that you get, depending on if you're religious or not, whether you're going to cemetery, whether you're visiting a past loved one, if you're doing the rebirth, or if you're going to Palm Sunday, or yada, yada, that you are probably going to have flowers maybe, or you're seeing some of them pop up all around you, people giving them, or you're planting them, or you're seeing the dead. Well, I always go to the clearance aisle as a witchy tip. There's always a clearance aisle at Home Depot or Lowe's or other places where their dead plants sit, and you can actually take them for free. You can be like, do you have any dead plants that you've given up on rehabilitating? And they'll be like, absolutely, we do. And they will give them to you, and you can take them and either rehabilitate them, in which case that would not be me. I do not have a green thumb. I use them to dry them because I figure they're already half dried. So then I dry them and they become mine. But crafting with that kind of stuff, going out and planting, gardening, perfect weekend for that. If you are somewhere that has a climate capable, because low bugs, high introspection, low collateral damage of people, quiet in nature, grounding, earth, thinking, planning. What do I want to do this year? What do I want to accomplish this year? What kind of things do I want to engage in this year? Thinking it out, not with anyone else going, I don't know. None of that pessimistic bull crap right now, because people are thinking about themselves. Selfish energy right now. Man, if I see another narcissism meme, I'm going to puke. Everyone has narcissism in them. Every single person. But if you're just like, well, not me. I don't even say that word. I don't even know what it means. That's a lie. That's a lie. That's a black sheep, white lie, if I've ever heard it. And it's not time for that. Just not.
But a Pisces and Mercury shifting to Aries will be the one to call everybody else out as narcissists, because in my Pisces view, I'm not a narcissist.
Right? Oh, it's going to be so much fun. Don't be involved in it, everybody. Don't be involved in it. There's going to be a Maury Povich show happening. There's going to be air signs out there in Aries going, you know what? And matter of fact, I have to say, just because this is kind of a fun addition. So launching my political podcast, which I've been trying to do for weeks now, and I keeps getting shut down and banned from Facebook and YouTube. So now I'm doing it on a private network, which is starting on April 1st. And so doing that on April Fool's Day, when it was supposed to originally be President's Day, is both ironic and funny, because of the old, like Michelle Bellinger was sharing earlier, like whether or not you subscribe to the Renaissance historical, like the coach jester or fool, being the person that could go out and proclaim random truths, hear ye, and that you just had to listen to it. I kind of wonder, politically speaking, if we're not going to get some of that. And for some of the things in the news and media, truths, aliens, crazy, weird stuff that's so weird, you wonder if it's true. And what? Delusions, Pisces, what? And on top of it all, it's going to be a little life altering. It's going to affect us, and we're going to be like, oh, that's important to pay attention to. And we won't necessarily feel any which way about it. So there's not going to be a whole lot of that. But Monday, I want to go into Monday because that's Monday, April 5th. Sorry, I need to switch back. This is where things shift just a hair, and knowing that it's a Monday, you guys use this energy as you will. Monday the 5th, the moon is, at this point, it is waning, right? It's getting smaller, minimizing in Aquarius, sextile, Mercury in Aries.
There's a lot of sextile this week. All right, so moon. I view, this is just kind of my gut view on this. When you look at the waxing and waning of the waxing, is that emotion more getting ready to get expressed outward, even though your moon is your internal self, whereas the waning is, it's sucking more inside, more of an introspection on those emotions.
Okay.
And in Aquarius, so Aquarius again, kind of I always view Aquarius as like the rebel. So I was, and I kind of try to do like these high school analogies with all the different signs and stuff. And Aquarius is the either like the hippie-ish or the red mohawk kind of energy. Sextile again, kind of making things smoother, kind of removing obstacles, making a smoother interaction between the two. What'd you say? It was Mercury and Aries?
Mercury and Aries. Yeah.
I had this rebellious kind of emotional energy, and that's going to eliminate some of the obstacles for me to communicate in a impulsive, direct, kind of aggressive manner. So Monday, I expect again, kind of rebellious communication, maybe not very tactful. This will be a good, these last couple of days, this will be good. If you can stand by and not like get sucked into it, this will be a good, like, to observe social media and not necessarily like big, like meme fights or anything like that. This will be like where there'll be like drama playing out between folks of just
catharsis and action.
I've always hated your stuff that you buy. Yes, it can be that kind of like,
what?
I've on this for so long, I can tell this person off.
What? Now that you mention it, this kind of stuff, where not that we ever really like drama, but you again, if you're not a part of it and it's not collateral damage and it's not anything like that, it's like a Maury Povich show. You don't mind being homesick in a pandemic, watching it go down, and you're like, oh man, it kind of makes me feel better about my life. Look at how crazy these people are. Look at these crazy people swinging. Look at this.
It's what flipped. It's what really flipped and gave me credibility on this stuff is like, I would look at these things and say, okay, this is the kind of, and I know somebody will like charge me of it. You're just doing confirmation bias, but I'd be like, okay, this is going to be like a high drama day. And then like, you have like crap, like blowing up all over. I forget what it was. January 5th. And I forget actually what the aspect was. I forget it was the 5th. And he said, what were you going to expect tomorrow? And I'm like, it's going to be out of left field, and it is going to be transformational, and it is going to be like based on rules, and it is going to be like just this like big shit show. And I have no idea what it's going to be. And then I remember texting you a couple of hours, and it's like, oh my God, they're like breaking into the Capitol building. Like,
so there's a man in a fur coat with horns breaking into the Capitol building.
You do it a couple of days ahead of time. If you do this with some regularity and you keep going through this all, it'll be like, okay, I expect to see this. And yeah, there is some element of confirmation bias, but there'll be enough things that'll be like, holy crap, what the hell was that? And then it like lines right up.
Well, and it does. That hindsight is 2020. And that's what's nice to have is hindsight. It's nice to have hindsight when you're like, wow, man, aren't we glad we listened to our gut on that? I know. Why did you do that? I don't know. I just had that deja vu. I had that feeling of like a Devon Sawa moment, like a Final Destination, like, weird psychic, Matt, that astrology. They told us to just take, so I just took a second. And how weird is that, right? Right. That's weird. We would much rather be there than like 6 feet under. You know what I mean? Absolutely. And so this is that space that you look at it and I think, well, nothing, catastrophic is going to happen. However, for anybody whose feelings get easily hurt, if that's you, by the way, don't go. Don't get in it. People that are in it are in it for taking the jugular.
I just thought of another like analogy for these things, and this hits a couple of the energies, all the Mercury ones that we were talking about. If you ever see in these like movies where the person's starting to like go into a talk and maybe they're going to like offer a job, or maybe they're going to like express their love, or they're going into something and they get just like into the introduction and the other person totally misreads and goes, yeah, you know what, I'm quitting, or yeah, I think we should break up too, or like where they do like the exact opposite and don't let the other person like fully it's that kind of like miscommunication crap that I see like going on as well. It's like, just let it play out. You could there's a big chance for misreading, so you just be the one to stay back and let the other people word out all their stuff and then figure it out, and then you decide how you're going to communicate back.
Oh, and I again, we hate to give up these little tricks because Matt and I, we are happy to have graduated from bullshit to flies, right? We don't claim to be anything great or any of this kind of space other than just to be like, you know what? We don't have to deal with this because we kind of, in a sense, are preventative rather than reactionary. It's nice to be in that space. Thank you, astrology, for allowing us to be in that space so often. And in this case, it is, you know, if your feelings aren't easily hurt and you're brazen and you're able and capable to go out there and just kind of get in it and get in this wallowing fight and life change and man, I hate to describe. So, okay. So I'm going to maybe bust a few bubbles on this one. Please, people, don't allow your feelings to get hurt. Okay. But if you're watching this podcast, you might be someone who listens to the radio still. You might be an archaic, wise creature, a wise soul, someone who on occasion still listens to the radio when you get in the car, in which case you might have remembered like War of the Roses, things like that. Right. These are all fake. So I do voice acting, and people are very sad when they're like, really, you do voice acting? Does that mean you do like cartoon characters? It's like, no, what I usually get paid for is doing War of the Roses and things like that. They're like, what do you mean? War of the Roses? Like on the radio? That's not real. That's real. What? People's hearts are broken to know that almost 99.9% of what you hear on the radio is, I mean, from like the Hawk. I love the Hawk. 1982, the Hawk, like all of it is a lie. All of it's fake. And one of the scripts that I did today was, yeah, so I want to catch my boyfriend cheating. So what I need you guys to do is call him up and just vaguely like text him from this number, and I'll text the other number, and we're just going to text both of them, but then call them on three-way and have it be like they're calling each other just to see what happens. But secretly, we're going to be on the phone. They're going to be like, that's great. And they get him on the phone. And it's like, hey, so what's up? Not much. What's up? Not much. You texted me. You texted me. Nah, you texted me. What, are you having second thoughts? Oh, no, I'm not having second thoughts. Are you having second thoughts? No, but I told you that, whenever that happens, if that happens, what do you mean? And like I jump in, cue crazy girlfriend in parentheses where I get to jump in because it's all fake. This is a complete fake thing. And in this space, it's really sad. I think it's sad to know that this is happening, that people are going to wait and be like, and then jump in on things. Don't even play the game. Don't even be involved in it. If you see it happening, just walk along like Office Space. Just walk right past. Just walk right around. Just go right past it. Don't even answer the phone. Just keep going. So, I mean, does that analogy make sense? I don't want to hurt people's feelings, by the way. If you like War of the Roses, you can still keep believing it's real. It is, in a sense, real. I am a real person. What is real? Anyway, let's finish up strong. Let's finish with a Tuesday, which will be next Tuesday before people join us for the Tuesday nights weekly astrology and alchemy with Matt and Sarah. And so next Tuesday morning, you will have not had any guidance, and you will need guidance because you will not have talked to us until that Tuesday night, again at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. But that morning you will wake up. It will be Taco Tuesday. You will have time traveled a week from today into next Tuesday, April 6th. And on that day, Venus will be in Aries. Dun, dun, dun. Sextile Mars in Gemini.
I don't like Venus and Aries. I've said that before. And again, they're all sextile. So again, this is eliminating obstacles. So romance can also be business. I want to say this, that there's, Venus is more than just love. There's like, Venus also rules money. So there can be, business things on this too, but we tend to go romance. I'll impulsive, again, I think 16-year-old, we're thinking 1 week time frame. We're not thinking, years down the road in the field of romance.
I sextile, by the way.
Eliminating obstacles too. Mars is that direct, aggressive energy. So again, Venus is the female, Mars is the male. So we already have kind of, you get it, male, female together energy. You got Venus in Aries, which is ruled by Mars. So you already got this kind of like impulsive. There'll be like a sexual vibe to it. Mars in Gemini. So Gemini is, they have like the two-faced thing, but I always view Gemini, since it's air and kind of communications and things. I almost view Gemini as kind of like the fork in the road. So which way do I go? I'm going to consider. So just add this all up. You got romance, you got female energy, you got male energy, you got impulsiveness, eliminating obstacles to which way am I going to go? So kind of in that romantic realm again, if people are vacillating between two positions, obstacles will be removed, and one of those two forks in the road is going to become very, very clear compared to the other. So if you have someone that is vacillating that you're interested in, it could break your way, it could not break your way, but you want to maybe put yourself in a position that if it does break your way, you're available, because vacillating things are going to move one way or the other on Tuesday in the romance.
I have to share with you the synchronicity. This is so funny. And the chances that this person would, I think they're still alive. Man, so many people from my high school days have died. It's weird. That word was a Panther word when I grew up back in the day of typewriters and newspapers. In language class, if you were an advanced English, you had to be involved in Panther words, which means that you got the newspaper and actually cut out words, had to find them in context, and then stand up in front of the class and read them. And I got the word vacillate. And I will never forget that word, because we also had a foreign exchange student named Vasily. And people always, I really thought Vasily was cool because he was Russian and he wore leather pants and he looked like he was a head singer of like Rammstein, and which in high school does not make you cool unless you're the weird Sarah that's already the witch, in which case you look like the bad guy from Triple X, and that makes you really cool. And so I thought Vasily and vacillate, he used that word in an English love letter kind of a space of like, well, it's about thinking what you like and what you don't like. And if, you would prefer English or Russian, and don't vacillate too long. Oh, that's so funny. Vacillate. Vasily. It's a very popular Russian name, which probably will be an irony that I put Vasily and vacillate on the word of the day for shadow work on Tuesday, April 6th. Watch it. Watch that come into play. For Mars and Gemini. We'll have Chinese and Russian news come into play on that day. I guarantee it. It'll be from two different spaces. And what I like is the shadow work. So in the Gypsy tribe with alchemy, this space of like how to utilize magic. If you are not someone who has the opportunity, maybe it's the pandemic, you aren't able to go to a church, or you have an aversion to some religious experience, but you still really want to be spiritual and apply science and be more practical, believe it or not, astrology is a really good space, I think, for that avenue to be exercised, as you will see by joining us weekly when we explore the astrology and the alchemy. But another part of it is the shadow work. I know it's a really popular word in the witch talk community. And the shadow work meaning going in, yin, earth, water, asking yourself thoughts and feelings about yourself, you, yourself, and I. And the shadow work, I think, for next week would be, what is your favorite kind of puzzle? And like even asking yourself or your loved one or your partner or someone that you would be interested in, because like Venus, curiosity does not necessarily mean affection. There's a difference between that Eros and Ludus and all the other different types of love. But because it's fire, because it's kind of dangerous, because there's an air of someone possibly getting hurt and a time limit and a recyclability and a spontaneity that is in some ways very attractive. So that needs to be, and it's that whole like, fuck it kind of idea, because it's all going to go to hell. It's all going to be burned. The evidence will be gone. These kinds of spaces with Aries and waning moons.
I would add, this just came to me too. I guess a word of caution. It's Mars in Gemini and that vacillating energy. This isn't like Pluto in Gemini where it might be like transformational. One of those roads are taken and then the other road is gone. So keep in mind that Mars in Gemini, the right path might be the one to pursue on Tuesday. That doesn't mean that individual is going to stay down that path. Because Mars is staying in Gemini, so they're still going to be indecisive. So there might be some impulsive actions and things on Tuesday, but don't view that as like a long-term, the love of my life chose me. Doesn't mean it's not, but I don't want, this could be fleeting.
It was not a
Keep it in mind. It could be fleeting.
Right. That's so important to remember and to keep in mind. And for these things, you guys, I hope you will remember when you are waking up for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. The big thing of Mercury enters Aries. So really thinking about how you use Aries energy. So this will be that, how do you use fire energy, right? How are you using an alchemy? How are you doing the irony of Nike and what they're doing and not doing, what they're supporting and not supporting? What are you going to do and not do? And when you say, well, just do it. Maybe not. But then, of course, trolls of all the trolls of the trolls. I don't know if you saw this, that Nike and a few people with the whole NOS thing said, we really require the PR that you go on your social media platform and issue an apology immediately and that you address this immediately. And did you see what he did? Did you see what happened? Just went on the social media and is like holding the shoe and was like, I hear that this is causing a lot of controversy. And what I have to say about that is, and it cuts to the most provocative part of his new music video that everyone's upset about. And then it just plays the entirety of the music video. And that's it. And it's not an apology at all. It just replays the video. But it's labeled, Little Nas's apology and PR for this. So it's kind of like, as far as like internet trolling goes, that's Aries.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
Are you sure you want to do that? All the way. Double-ended. Do it. Jennifer Connelly style in Requiem for a Dream. All the way. Ruin my career. All the way. Unforgettable. All the way.
Now, in fairness, I don't know if you've done this, so I'm not putting you on the spot. It's something maybe to look into for another one, but I've noticed that not everything, and I haven't broken this whole thing down, but I have a lot of planets that do not aspect Aries well. So I would say just in a general rule, probably out of the 12 signs, Aries is probably the energy that I'm like least like compatible and probably like comfortable with. So I want to add this as I'm giving advice here and stuff. I'm probably a little bit predisposed to not being real warm and fuzzy on, nothing against my Aries friends or anything like that. Love you all, but I may not be as positively disposed on my advice on Aries type energy compared to some of the other ones, because I do have a lot of negative aspects in my own chart to sign of Aries. So
that fire, it's you have to appreciate it, right? You have to appreciate it. You have to know how to use it. Like a campfire is really great if you've got your food to cook and it's a nice night and all that stuff. But like if you're trying to get going on the road and you don't have anything to put it out, leaving a campfire or, like anybody with anxiety, driving away, wondering if you left your oven on, wondering if that item is still plugged in when it's capable of complete destruction. A fire sign, that's the kind of energy that they hold, is the kind of energy that quite literally physically fire energy has, which it's capable of mass destruction, and it isn't going to be controlled up to a certain point. Like you look at the Australian wildfires. This time last year, our planet people were pray for rain, wildfires, as if the earth doesn't regularly purge herself. But it is scary as humans, because we look at it and our little firemen out there just going on it. It's like acreage. thousands of acres, animals shaking, sad, Mother Earth, don't care. Fire. That's kind of scary. And so in a sense, there's, I think of in the paranormal, we have Schmack Schmaggins. He's like that's like an Aries.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Get out here, demon, and throw a brick at my head. Or else tune in next Wednesday to see. That's Aries. It's cool. It's cool for a bachelor party.
But if you think of anyone that's got like that friend or somebody that's just like, has like no filter and I don't care, I'm going to call it as I see it it's that kind of energy as well. It's just
great for a radio show guest.
Yeah.
Great to bring to Thanksgiving if you
don't want to be someone with a lot of Libra in my energy, the person that's just going to say it as it is and don't care if they piss everybody else off, obviously is, and it is. Libra's 180 degrees, the opposite of Aries. It's like the opposite way that I would handle it. I would not blurt that out there and piss everybody else off. I would just sit on it.
Well, and that's why you kind of like to have your Aries. Whoa. You kind of like to have your Aries friend. What is going on?
I'm not seeing what you're saying. So.
Oh, all of a sudden, like, that was really weird. All of a sudden my computer started flipping out. It was like, don't. Guys, weird stuff's going on in the ether. We've been talking about this. I don't know what's going on. We know some things are going on, but we don't know what's going on. Aries. Stuff's going down. It might all be going to hell. We don't know. But anyway, the point being, if you can get back with your bunch of crunch and your buttered popcorn, that is going to be the ideal thing to do. And then next week, I promise we will keep it. We will keep it at a small time. We won't talk your ear off. We'll keep it subtle. We're going to try and keep it to 30 minutes?
Yeah, that'd be great. It's probably going to go an hour. I know we've always said 30 minutes. I don't think we can do it in 30. It'll go an hour, but
yeah. We're going to try and keep it to 30, 45 minutes to make sure and give you the most efficient astrological weekly breakdown. But if you guys have friends or questions, feel free. We probably won't be doing readings live just because that's not what these are for. They're for really helping people understand the general usage of astrology and then you to be specific in your own space. But if you do have general questions or specific questions that you want to send off the air, feel free to contact Matt or I. Whether it be through YouTube or Instagram or Facebook or however you find us, however you're watching now, just click over on the notifications, sign up and follow to the main profile and send us a message. We're real people. We will respond. And if you just can't think to do it, you can always join us here next week because we'll be here there too. So is there anything else that we're leaving out? Anything I forgot?
I don't think so. I think we're all good.
Man. It's going to be here before you know it. And I'm excited to see how everyone's weekend goes as we move into Aries. And again, just take note of people speaking Freudian slips. Take that extra moment, that pause, like Matt said, just sit into it. Lean back into it. Think of a nonverbal way. If you can describe it without using words, draw it, hum it, sign language it. If you could do it without using words, try to do that first and allow yourself to sharpen a new skill and not be collateral damage for what the week has ahead. And then hopefully just be very, very entertained and do some outside gardening if you can. I think it'll be good for that. Right? But yeah, until then, we'll see you next week. This time, same place, time 9 p.m. Central. Which is 10
Eastern.
Because
I'm on the East Coast over here. So
right. You're at 10 o'clock and I'm at 9 o'clock. So depending on if you're over there or over here, you'll either be in the past or the present. But it will still be Tuesday and we will be tackling the astrological.
I'm speaking to Sarah from 1 hour in the future.
From 1 hour in the future. It's very different and I'll be very different then. I'll be wiser. I'll be much wiser then. And yeah, so you guys be sure and join us. Tag a friend. Be sure and share, follow along. And we do appreciate you guys. And we will see you next week.
Sounds good. Take care, everybody.